Welcome back to the Boot Tragedies. Oh man, the Saints have started off training camp, or I guess the day before training camp, with a bang. You know, it's never a dull moment with the Saints, and yesterday, just all hell was breaking loose on the timeline. Football finally felt like it was back, and I'm here to report on everything that happened yesterday and some things I'll be looking forward to in training camp. But first, man, if you're new to this, channel, hit that subscribe button. Like this video, man. Like this up. Training camp starting today. Like this video, man, so it can get spread out to more Saints fans. But now let's jump into it, man. We can start off with the signings from yesterday. Out the gate, we signed Trey Turner, versatile offensive guard, played for the Panthers, the Chargers, the Commanders. Really good piece. Guy from LSU, went to St. Aug down in New Orleans. So I really like that signing. It's a depth signing. I'll talk a little bit more about the signings later when I get into Dennis Allen's kind of interview yesterday. And then out of nowhere, out of left field, just randomly, like completely randomly, the Saints posted, "Welcome back, Jimmy Graham." Now, I was super confused when that happened. Thought they were joking. Thought he was going to be a coach, assistant, or something like that. Maybe he was going to retire. But no, the Saints actually signed Jimmy Graham to a contract. And to be honest, it's some pros and cons, which, like I said, we'll touch on more of that a little later. And also, we signed Max Garcia, another offensive guard, which kind of throws a wrench in what I was thinking from the Trey Turner signing, because now it looks like we're signing a couple guys because maybe some guys won't be healthy when camp start. To sign two guards when the offensive line was pretty full means to me that Cesar Ruiz probably is not going to be ready. Trevor Penning's probably not going to be ready. Andres Pete, he might not be ready as well. And maybe they're just going to take them guys along slow, so you brought in some more offensive guards to fill those voids as training camp is about to start. Also, we had some waves, tight end, Miller Forrestall and guard Coda Martin. Those two guys were waived, obviously bringing guys in. You're going to have to waive some people. Now, before we get to those signings, man, the biggest news outside of that came out of Saints training camp is Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas took a physical. Obviously, he passed it. Took a conditioning test. Obviously, he passed that. And Dennis Allen says he expects Michael Thomas to be a full participant in the training camp. Now, this is amazing. This is beautiful. I just did my top 20 players, and I said, hey, man, it's going to be hard to count on Michael Thomas this year. He's injured. We don't really know his injury status. Maybe he won't be ready for camp. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll be ready for preseason. Who knows? This is the best news regarding Michael Thomas we've gotten in a long time. He's going to be ready for training camp. Now, this is big. This is big. I'll tell you why this is big for certain reasons. Number one, you just got Derek Carr. Derek Carr and Michael Thomas have no chemistry. They have no rapport. They've never played with each other. You need your number one receiver, who I think is Olave, but for this instance, we consider your number one receiver and Michael Thomas, and your quarterback, your franchise guy for the next 3-4 seasons, however long he's going to be there. They need to get some chemistry. They need to build it. It's about to be August very soon, and he cannot be missing time. You can't just expect to go into the regular season and just be hitting the ground running when you guys have never worked on routes, especially with Michael Thomas being an intermediate route runner. Intermediate guy, slant guy, is like they like to call him. All those routes are timing routes. They're all timing routes. So you're going to need to get that timing down. It'll be easier if it's a guy like, Rashid Shaheed, where you're going to just, play action, throw it deep. That's a little easier to get a connection going. But a guy like Michael Thomas is going to run those 5-yard routes, 10-yard routes, 15-yard routes, timing routes. You're going to need to get that chemistry down. So Michael Thomas being there day one is just a good sign for his health, good sign for Derek Carr. Also, the wide receiver room, that's going to help the wide receiver room out a lot. You got guys like Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, who's expected to be a big part of this team this year. And they're going to have Michael Thomas around now. That's only going to help. Obviously going to help when the season starts, because those guys won't be number one and number two. They'll be number 2 and number 3, so you'll face, lesser cornerbacks. Michael Thomas might still draw the number 1 corners and things like that. And if he doesn't, that means he'll just have the number 2 and number 3 corners on him, which is even better for us anyway. But that's definitely going to help the wide receiver room. Some young guys, man. Like he even said in his interview, man, Rashid and Olave, watching those guys out there, made him happy, because that's his young guys. He was the vet in a locker room, and those guys, obviously the Ohio State connection with Olave, those are his young guys. He wanted to see them succeed, and him being on the field with them, only going to help their wide receiver room. Also, the guy that's going to help probably a lot and the most, and the guy that probably needs the most help, Pete Carmichael. Oh, Pete Carmichael, I'll talk about you a little later as well, man. This is a big year for you. I can't even say it's a big year. This is the most important year of his coaching career. The most important year of his coaching career will be this year. After last season, it didn't go well. You can slice it however you want. Quarterback play, offensive line play, receiver play, running back play, head coach, whatever. Pete Carmichael, your offense did not do well last season, and it has to be different this year. We've brought in a lot of pieces. And as Michael Thomas being back, being healthy from day one, you have to be able to get him involved in this offense, get him up to speed with Derek Carr. That's going to be huge for this offense to be successful. Very, very huge. And last but not least, this is big for no other than Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, this is huge for him to be healthy, finally coming into an off-season training camp healthy. It's been a minute. Man. He's had a long injury-riddled couple seasons after being the best receiver in the NFL. I know it sucks. I know he doesn't like it. I know he, hates being left off these lists. All receivers have ego. That's what makes them great. That's what makes them really, really good, receivers. That ego's hurting right now. He's not listed as a top 5 receiver anymore. He's not listed as a top 10, top 15 guy. You've got guys that I'm sure he doesn't even think can hold his jock strap that are better than him right now. But guess what? They've been producing. They've been playing. So this is good news for MT, man. That toe seems to be healthy. Hopefully that ankle's healthy. And just with all the injuries piled up, if MT is 80% of what he was 2 years ago, he's still going to be a top 10 receiver in the NFL. That's how good he was when he was at his peak. And he's on a 1-year deal, so it's definitely got to prove something. So coming in healthy, maybe try to prove it. Maybe gets a deal from the Saints. Maybe gets a deal from somebody else after this season. But he's definitely going to be healthy coming into the season. So far, we're knocking on wood with that. Hopefully the Saints still take him slowly. Now, he's healthy. He's going to be out there day one, but we don't need to throw the whole load at him. Pause. Right at it. Right out the box. Just, let him come in slowly, ease him into it, get some chemistry with Derek Carr and stuff like that, and then we're ready to roll. But, man, I'm super excited that Michael Thomas is healthy, and I can't wait to see it. Now we're going to talk about Dennis Allen. He gave actually one of his longer interviews, maybe because it's the first day, right before training camp. It's like the first day of school almost, getting all your pre-meetings in. And he kind of said a lot. More than we usually get from Dennis Allen, in my opinion. Last year, we really didn't get much from him. And we talk about Jimmy Graham. He talked about Jimmy Graham first because obviously everyone was probably shocked. This one that, all the local reporters, all the big-time reporters, no one had this information. No one had this information about Jimmy Graham. It's rare that, the team page, social media page tweets it out, welcome back Jimmy Graham. Usually Adam Schefter, maybe Nick Underhill, whoever you want to say from Saints media or the big-time media, they're always going to have it before the team tweets it out. So this was very under wraps, and it's shocking because apparently they wanted to do this last year. I think a couple times they said that, they thought about it, considered it last year with Jimmy Graham coming to the Saints, which makes sense, man. The tight end room wasn't doing that great last year. Just had Juwan Johnson and Adam Troutman being inconsistent. Had Nick Vannett out there. Young guys didn't really get a chance to play like Lucas Crawl. So I can see him entertaining it last year, but Dennis Allen said he wanted to make sure that Jimmy Graham's desire to play football was there. So, they didn't do it last year. They came back this summer. Obviously, they talked about it, and then they flew him in for the workout. All things seem that, it went well. He's older, obviously. He's definitely older, but all things seem to went well. They signed him. Now he has a 1-year deal. Don't know the details on that, but that's very, very interesting to bring Jimmy Graham in. And he said he looked good in the workout. Now, the one thing Jimmy Graham's going to bring to this team, back to Pete Carmichael, red zone. The Saints were not good in the red zone. We were not good. You bringing Michael Thomas back, who's healthy day one. You got a Taysom Hill. You got a Jamal Williams, who's one of the best red zone backs in the NFL last year. You may have a Jimmy Graham. Olave is going to be better. Offensive line, hopefully they're healthy. You got a new quarterback in there. It's a lot of weapons. It's a lot of weapons that you have, and you really can't mess this up. Well, you can mess it up. It's definitely possible, but we're putting you in position to succeed. So you're going to have to succeed. Also, you got Trey Turner who came in, another guard. I do like the question that the reporters asked, man. I wish they, said which reporter asked which question. But somebody asked him, is this Trey Turner signing because of injuries? Or was it just because, you want to trade Turner? Dennis Allen said this was not an injury-related signing, which is good, in my book. I don't know whether he's lying or not really lying, but not telling the whole truth there. But if this is not related to the injuries of Ruiz and Pete, that's good. I mean, he's just coming in as a depth guy, a competition guy, and that's what you like to see. You like to see competition at all positions. I've always said, always try to upgrade every position if you can make it work. If you can make it work, you always try to do it. Love Chris Olave as a receiver, but if somehow we could just get Justin Jefferson over Chris Olave, guess what I would do? I would get Justin Jefferson. I like that we added Derek Carr, but if somehow we can get Patrick Mahomes over Derek Carr, guess what I would do? I would get Patrick Mahomes. It's always want to upgrade each position to the best of your capabilities under the cap and things like that without just throwing away your whole future or something like that. So you always want to upgrade. You always want to bring competition. So if you bring Trey Turner in and he ends up being better than Peter Ruiz, guess what? That is a good thing. He beat them out. Now you have somebody that's better than the position that was a starter. That's never a bad thing. And it's a lot of positions like that on the team where it's going to be a lot of competition. If you count the defensive tackles, defensive ends, opposite Cam Jordan, or the cornerback position, which I'll talk about, safety, whoever you want to mention to that, it's going to be competition on the field. That's all you can ask for as a fan. You want them to compete in training camp. If you went to training camp and all 53 roster spots were already filled and no competition, it wouldn't be as exciting of a training camp, man. You got starting battles, you got backup battles, guys that are going to be, barely on the roster battles. You even got special teams battles, which is rare in training camp. Will Lutz has had it for a long time. Thomas Morstead had it for a long time. Now you got a kicker and punter training camp battle. So that's definitely going to be interesting, all the battles in camp and things like that. But Trey Turner seems to be a depth signing. Obviously, they signed Garcia as well, a guy going to be fighting for a roster spot as well. So, man, I'm super excited with those signings right off the bat. Also, the NFL. I got a bone to pick with y'all. Have a bone to pick with the NFL, but what's new? Dennis Allen stated he has no idea what's going on with the Alvin Kamara situation. This happened literally over a year and a half ago at this point. Over a year and a half ago. I know the case just ended, but the NFL, the Saints haven't heard anything. But of course, you know they won't. This is what the NFL does to the Saints. Everybody thinks Saints fans are delusional. Hey, can y'all just let us know? Just let us know what's going on. Yo, it's been a year and a half. You should have already had steps in place. Okay, if Alvin Kamara is found guilty and he goes to prison, maybe we give him 6 games, 8 games, 10 games, 12 games, whatever it's going to be. If nothing happens and they settle out of court, maybe we give him 2 games, 4 games. All of these things should have already been into place, before this trial ended, before all this ended. I'm sure you did your investigations and stuff already. It's been a year and a half. It's time to make a decision. Training camp's about to start. Preseason starts very, very soon, 3 weeks. You got a Hall of Fame game coming soon, too. So, you need to get the decision rolling. Stop leaving the Saints in the dark. You know what you're going to do already. You know what you're going to do. How about you just do it? Come down whatever you're going to come down with, and let's move on from there. Because don't pretend you're not going to do anything. Don't wait until week 2. Don't wait until week 3. And you're like, oh, we forgot about Alvin Kamara. Let's suspend him for 6 games during the middle of the season. Yeah, come down with your decision so the Saints can plan accordingly right now. Because you're going to suspend them for 4 games or something. We're probably going to bring in more running backs to training camp. So don't wait until the end of time to start suspending people or to start, thinking about it. Let's just do it now, get it over with. Let the Saints know what you're going to do on the Alvin Kamara front. It's been too long already. Let's make a decision. Please, hurry up. Thank you, Roger. Last but not least, man, I do want to, not last but not least, I want to touch on something. Zach Stewart, the new head of analytics. Now, I'm not really an analytic guy. I'm not really all for the analytics and, you should go for every 2-point conversion because the analytics say it's a 58% chance. It's those guys out there. But I'm more of a field guy, man. Hey, if it feel like we need to get a spark going, we're going to go for it on this 4th down. We at midfield, offense not really getting it going, defense is playing great. I'm going to go for it on 4th down. Things like that. I'm more of a field type guy when it comes to not going for it, not kicking field goals and things like that, fake punts, whatever. But the Saints just never went for it last year. We had no balls. And now, I'm not saying you need to go for it on every 4th down because I got the stats right in front of me. These are the only stats I pulled up, 4th down stats. Number 1 team in the league going for 4th down attempts, Cleveland Browns, Arizona Cardinals, Detroit Lions. Those aren't great football teams, so they're probably going for it at the end of games when they're losing. But then also, you got 4th in the league, you got the Philadelphia Eagles, you got the Los Angeles Chargers, who they're pretty aggressive in their coach. Then at the bottom, last in the NFL in 4th down attempts of the 2022 season was Dennis Allen, New Orleans Saints. 11 times they went for it on 4th down. You want to know the 2 teams in front of us with 12? 2 teams had 12, and we had 11. The 2 teams that went for it 12 times, the Kansas City Chiefs, your Super Bowl champions. They don't really need to go for it on 4th down because they get shit done on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down with Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. And then the team above them, the Cincinnati Bengals. Those are the 2 teams. Another great team, a team that probably would have been in the Super Bowl, but they just ran into Patrick Mahomes, who on his way to being the greatest quarterback of all time. Those 2 teams went for it 12 times. I understand them only going for it 12 times. They're good. They're probably winning a lot of games. They don't need to go for it. They're getting stuff done on the first 3 downs, like I said. But the Saints going for it 11 times is absolutely pathetic. That is the word. I can't say what I want to say. What that makes me feel about Dennis Allen. But I think it's just no guts. That's the nice way to say it. It's just no guts. No guts at all. Going for it 11 times on fourth down in a 17-game season, that is no guts. And we were losing. We were not like a 10-6, well, 10-7 or 11-6 team or something like that. We had a losing record. You had a losing record out the gate. Out the gate. We had a losing record. Yeah, we had fun and beat Atlanta, and it was all party. Michael Thomas went crazy. Winston went crazy in the fourth quarter. But after that, it was shit show. And we only went for 11 times on fourth down. That's unacceptable in my opinion. That's very unacceptable. If you made it this far, I'm sorry you get the rant right now. You get the trip. I haven't ranted in a long time. It's been all season. Of course, look what makes me rant right now. A fourth down. And that's not even it. We only went for it 11 times, and guess what? Which was last in the NFL, but we only converted 4 of them. 4 for 11. 4 for 11. 36%. Guess what? That's third worst in the NFL. That is third worst in the NFL. We got the Bears under us, and shockingly, the Bengals are under us, but it doesn't matter because they were a good team. And they only played 16 games, too, which is because you know that the Mark Hamlin situation. But still, that is bad. That is bad. If you look at some of the teams at the top, crazy. The Rams were at the top. That's Sean McVay, good offensive coach. You got Kansas City Chiefs at the top, 75%. You got the Eagles at the top, the Seahawks at the top. Teams like that are at the top. We're not that, obviously, but we need to be that. So this analytics guy, back to what I was going. So they got this guy named Zach Stewart. Obviously, he's a rising star in this league. He was with the Jets. So that's really a big splash that no one's talking about. Now, Dennis Allen said he won't be controlled by these analytics, and I don't think you should. You shouldn't be like, oh, it's 4th and 8. Let's see what the analytics charts say. Oh, we got a 47% chance to get this foot. We ain't doing that. You're going off field, but the analytics do show that you should go for it more. You should take more chances because in the NFL, no, man, you just throw balls up and you're getting flags these days. Like, that just is what it is. So we definitely have to be more aggressive on that front, going for it on fourth downs, not just trying to settle for field goals, taking chances. We need to take more chances. Or hopefully we're just one of those teams that we're just getting it done on the first 3 downs that we don't need to go for it on fourth down. But when you got a Michael Thomas, Elvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Jawan Johnson, Foster Moreau, maybe Jimmy Graham, Jamal Williams, you should probably start going for it on fourth downs. That is a lot of weapons that you have. A lot of things the defense have to worry about. You should probably start going for it more on fourth down this season. And I think the Saints are going to make it an effort to look at those numbers. They hired a guy. They said he looks confident in what he does. And, man, hopefully we go for it on more fourth downs. That's the end of that rant. But the last thing I did want to talk about was some of the position battles, or one of the position battles, that's going down in training camp. And that's going to be a Debo versus Alontae Taylor. I'm just happy Dennis Allen came out and said it's a competition. Because I don't think a Debo should just have it. I don't think Taylor should just have it. Marshawn Lattimore, you got yours. Other spot, let them fight for it. Let them fight for it and may the best man win. It's only going to make both of those guys better. And if something happens, somebody's going to get hurt. That's the NFL. People get hurt. Then the other guy can step in. It's just simple as that, man. You have 2 really, really good guys at that cornerback position. Dennis Allen even said we got multiple guys that could be starting on different NFL teams. And I think Alontae Taylor, Paulson Adebo, and Lattimore are obviously 3 starters that can start on some team in this league. Obviously, Lattimore, you don't have to mention him. He can start on every team in this league. Those other 2 guys can start on most teams in the NFL as well. The Saints are lucky. We have 3 really good cornerbacks. But the competition battle needs to be fair. It needs to be open. The good thing is we have Marshawn Lattimore. That's going to be the good thing for those guys. They're going to get a lot of reps in because Lattimore doesn't need all the reps. So now you can play those guys. Alontae Taylor on the right, Paulson Adebo on the left. Maybe the next day you switch them. Switch sides. Because Lattimore's not going to get every rep at practice. He's a vet now. He's getting 27, 28. He's getting up there. Not old by any stretch of the imagination, but he's getting up there, knows the system. You want to keep those guys healthy and stuff like that. So he's not going to need every last rep. And now you got good receivers now. Last year, I'm not going to even get started on those receivers last year, but would you get Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Michael Thomas they get to go up against, Jimmy Graham these guys get to go up against now at practice and things like that, Jawan Johnson, Foster Moreau. They're going to have a lot of good guys they can go up against at practice. That's only going to make our DBs better. They're going to make our receivers better. I'm very, very locked in on that competition specifically. That's the number one competition I'm locked in on. I know some other competitions that are definitely going to be good, like the wide receiver 4. I think competition is going to be very good. That defensive end spot on the other side of Cam Jordan, that defensive tackle spot is going to be pretty good. So it's going to be some good competitions out there. But Alontae Taylor versus Paulson Adebo, let's get your popcorn ready. That's the one that we're all probably looking forward to the most, and I'm ready for it, man. Training camp starts today. If you're watching this and it already started, hey, training camp has started already, and I'm super, super excited. I'm not going to be out there. I might go out there a couple days. I did get some tickets for some of the training camps and things like that, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, but I'm super, super excited. Football is back, man. Football is back. I couldn't be more happy that football is back. Saints football is back. Damn it. It's been a long time. I feel like it's been a long time. It sucks when you don't make the playoffs. Your season gets cut short like a month, it feels like. But we're back now. Hey, Boot Tragedy family, we finna turn up this year. It's going to be a good year. Hopefully the Saints do well this year. If so, it's going to be some good vibes in here. And if not, it's going to be some more rants in here. But training camp is here. Preseason is right around the corner. Everything's starting to tick, man. I just can't wait. I'm just super excited for the Saints season to start. And we'll see what happens. Thank y'all for tuning in once again, man. 7-10 season last year. It's time to get better than that. We went for it on 4th down 11 times. And we were 7-10. Doesn't add up right there. But I won't jump back into that. Thank y'all for tuning in once again, man. As always, this is the Boot Tragedies. And I'm out.